Louise descendants. I'm going to go back one more generation, the Danish side and the Swedish side. So I'll start with the Danes. That's Mom's people. He was Peter Christian Bottom, born in 1875, and came to America the first time about 1895 or 96. And the reason he came is preceded by when Nita and I got to go to Scandinavia. We went to the farm where this guy was born, and it's the peninsula of Jutland. So you go all the way up to the top, and there's the North Sea, wild and woolly. That's where his farm was. And I remember standing there looking and saying, wow, this 18-year-old kid, remote area, he just went to America. Heroic, amazing. A little later that day, the cousin that we were with said, well, David, I'm now going to tell you why your grandpa really came to America. We're in a thing called the Crow, it's a little supper club right down the street, around the road from the farm. Across there is a railhead, and one of Grandpa's duties when he was working the farm was to bring 5 or 6 head of cattle every year down to the railhead, sell the cattle, and get the money, which he did. But he went across the street, said, heading to this very Crow, this very place we're sitting in, lost all the money in the card game, wrote IOUs, and ended up fleeing his debts, and that's why he went to America. Heroic. But he went to Iowa, worked for the railroad, and then got some money and went back, got the debts paid off, and that's when he, proposed to his bride. She was in the farm right up the road, and I think they'd known each other, and that was Christina Toppenberg was her maiden name. So first time I heard the story was that Grandma married her to America. It got more accurate, I think, and I'm not sure how later on. Turns out he proposed, and she said, okay, Peter, I accept your proposal, but what I want is for you to loan me the money for the passage, and we'll get to America, I'll get a job, I'll get the money back, I'll repay your loan, then we'll get married, so we can start off even. I guess one of the first feminists in the world, I'm not sure. And then Carl, you're going to talk about Ellis Island and so on, and these ships. And he was among us, I don't know if we have them here now. We got some of the manifests from these ships, the actual list of the passengers on these 2 ships that the Danes and Swedes came on. And when I looked, there's Peter Christian Bottom, ultimate destination, Wilkie, Iowa. And then there was this gal a few pages later, Christina Toppenberg, ultimate destination, Chicago, Illinois. So apparently, got off in Chicago, got a job, got it done, moved to the farm, married Grandpa, and then had the offspring, the baby of which was Mom. That's the Danes. Then the Swedes. Now we're in Småland, Sweden. Klaus Emil, it was, well, my grandfather, your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather is really total up. At his farm, southern Sweden, one of the poorer parts of Sweden, and Hulda, his wife, 8 children. Hulda had some sisters who had immigrated to America, and they wrote her the letters about, land of opportunity, gold, and whatnot. So Grandma being Grandma, she was a pusher. Said, Emil, you go over there to America, make the money, get rich, and send for us. So years later, at his 75th birthday, he had his sons in attendance, and he told them, I didn't really want to go. I like my farm. I was Catholic. He was also a carpenter. But, like I said, so he went, 1913, he goes, 3 years go by, and he gets a job, goes to Minneapolis, where the relatives are, gets a rooming house, gets this job, income, paying the rooming bill, and all that, so on. I won't tell that part of the story. And then sends money back. But 3 years go by, and they get 9 people to get transported across the ocean, and they're still short. So, Grandma and Grandma put the farm up for sale, put all the livestock up for sale, everything goes, and then this auction, and got enough money, which when added to what Grandpa had been sending was sufficient. Then a little side story about her auction, she was, against alcohol, among other things, you understand? But Olson or somebody from up the road, he was half of his cups, came down and ended up paying an exorbitant amount for 2 pigs or something like that. So the next day he comes back and said, you know, I overpaid. Grandma said, no, perfect price, you're fine. So off they go, and they took a wagon, horses and whatnot, down to railroad station, and I guess none of it had been on a train before, and then this train gets in Copenhagen, and I'm not sure where they left from, in Stockholm, to go across the ocean. John was 14, Edith was 2, and then they were about 2 years apart in between. And Grandma said, John, you watch Edith, and
Henry.
I think Henry's next, yeah. You watch whoever, anyway, she had, oldest was the youngest, like golf matches or something. And I was telling some of the nephews earlier today, my Aunt Edith got her to write the story about the trip. And we couldn't find it at our house, but I know there's copies somewhere. We'll try to find those. But she talked about this trip. And the title was basically, didn't want to lose one. And she didn't. You were talking about a neighbor farm lady, not dumb, but coming off this little farm in Sweden, going to America, where the hell that is, and then to Minneapolis. So she did it, got them all on the ship. Everyone except my father and Uncle Engel. Uncle Engel died in influenza in the 20s, so we never knew him. And they were like Engel and I, about 16 months apart, and about 6 and 7. Everybody else got totally seasick. I mean, just down and out. And I guess my father, Uncle Engel, just had the run of the ship. But then it fell overboard, and it made it okay. Got to Ellis Island, went through the lines and all that stuff that she did in those days. And then she got him to Grand Central Station, got him on the right train, got into Chicago, got to change the trains, got the one to Minneapolis, and got them all there successfully.
And didn't lose one.
Didn't lose one, no way. And that's how, like Carl said earlier, we're all here.
Most of us. Yeah.
And Graham was saying earlier, some people who said, well, after we're all done, now these pontifications here, there's going to be a quiz.
Thank you, brother. David, first of all, I'm sure David feels the same way. We are so thrilled that the better half of our older brother Engel is here in Maryland. Thanks for being here. For this, we don't have to tell you, you were a major part of his life, and as to, we thank you for that. I'm going to just elaborate a little bit on the history that Dave gave, because of Ellis Island, a place that I've come to know very well because we live in New York City. It's right next to the Statue of Liberty, And I'm going to give to my two brothers here a letter that I gave them to August 29th, 1988, that they may remember. I'm sure, I hope they do. And I just want to read this to you very quickly. It says, "Dear Mom and Dad," this is to Eric and Winnie, "the brothers and I have made a contribution on your behalf. We have to honor Dad, his parents, and his brothers and sisters' immigration from Sweden to America. We've also talked to our bottoms, that's Mom's side of the family, obviously, to do the similar thing for her family, and that we're so thrilled that they immigrated from both Sweden and Denmark through this place called Ellis Island." Got some pictures of Ellis Island and some other stuff, and I'm going to let you look at it or throw it away, but at the end of the day, 12 million people came through Ellis Island between 1892 and 1924. And today, over 100 million people in this country are families of those immigrants. And as Dave said, how brave and courageous they were to make this journey from their various countries with no knowledge, as our grandmother did, of the language, of the culture, of all of the aspects of this place called America, but they wanted to come to America. And I would say this to my nephews and nieces, and my grandsons, and my Erica's grandsons. When you get a chance, please go and visit Ellis Island, if only to go and honor your great-great-great-grandfather and mother. Their names are there. They're inscribed on the Immigrant Wall of Honor that will always be there, always looks right at Manhattan across the waters. But a special place because they were special to do this. How courageous. Finn, I would tell you, it would be similar to you getting on a rocket ship and going to Mars and begin to say, this is my new home. Because they didn't speak a word of English, they didn't know much about the country, but they had the courage to do it. And obviously, we are the beneficiaries of that. And I obviously care a lot about this. I got a letter back from the guy that actually did the restoration, the renovation, Lee Iacocca. He's a great American. And he said, "Dear Mr. Peterson, on behalf of the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island Foundation, I am proud to welcome you to this very special group of Ellis Island leaders. The name of you and your family members has been entered into an official records here on Ellis Island, and it will soon appear on a public display at Ellis Island for you, all of you to see as a testament to the heroism and the triumphs of your family and what they experienced in coming to America for the first time. The many thousands of visitors who will come to Ellis Island each year will recognize and respect your family's role in fulfilling the American dream of hope, freedom, and opportunity for all. Ellis Island holds a very special place in my heart, and I can tell you it does for you and all others. Congratulations and thank you from the Ellis Island Foundation." I'm going to give you some pictures here and that, but before I get off, I have to tell a story. First of all, here's a picture of the homestead. And some of us have been here, and again, I would encourage you, since Småland, Sweden, we can give you the address. This is the house where our father was born. And here is a picture of the family just before they left for America. In front of the house, grandmother had sold the farm. Grandfather was waiting for them in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And here's another photo of when they all arrived and they grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
But
I'm not going to tell you which one is Eric.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
gonna let
one,
you
there's one
decide.
addition. Uncle Art was born after they got here.
Yeah.
So we had
Seven Swedes and one American Swede and Uncle Art. And these are the immigrant official certifications of registration, not only for Mom, or Dad, I should say, but Mom also. Anyway, but before I get off, I have to tell a story about the young lady that put this together tonight, because she did a fabulous job. I'm speaking of Haley. And I hope I don't embarrass her too much, but I don't care if I do. As you probably know, because we had far too many pictures of us, I was involved with professional football for a third part of my life, and particularly the Kansas City Chiefs for 20 years. And these three guys that grew up to be very tall and imposing were all ball boys at some time during training camp for the Kansas City Chiefs. And finally I got a call from Miss Haley, and she said, Uncle Carl, you know, my brothers have been there each summer and that. I think it's time for me to be part of the Kansas City Chiefs. I said, well, Haley, I'm not going to send you to training camp to be ball. She said, fine. I said, listen, why don't we bring you into Kansas City for the summer, do marketing, sales, etc., similar to what my lovely daughter did in something called the NFL Europe League. That'd be great. Loved it. She came in, and of course she was a knockout from the beginning. And I could see this. Lori and I got her a place on the plaza, close to where we live, got an automobile. She had a good situation here. Am I correct? It was a good situation. It was a good situation.
It was pretty good. I think I also had a fake ID that summer.
Even better.
I was like a year shy of 21. 32.
So 2 weeks into the mission, I could see where this was going with all of the young, virile, male interns, employees of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I said to my staff, I need to have a meeting with just the males. So we had a meeting, and I said, gentlemen, I'll make this very short, very concise. My last name is Peterson. There's a young lady here, a very, very attractive young lady by the name of Haley Peterson. If you want to continue to be an employee of the Kansas City Chiefs, you will not have anything to do with Haley. Well, it took about 10 minutes from that. I get a phone call, Uncle Carl, you have just ruined my social life. She did a fabulous job. This young interview.
She did.
But for tonight, I'm like my brothers. I'm so thankful for your participation, but Haley, what you've done here, and the rest, and Dawn and Erica, you had this idea. Nita's idea. Nita came up with
She's
it.
the idea.
We get catapulted. Yes.
Yes,
I'm reeling you in, babe.
I'm bringing it to a conclusion here. Shamble here, you know, something's going to end up well. Anyway, it is special to the you young guys. Don't forget your great-great-great-grandparents. They're very special, just as your parents are. And go visit Ellis Island in New York when you get a chance.
Yeah.